What's something you did during sex that was so stupid you still facepalm about it today? First time I saw penis. I was like, wow, so that's it. I meant like, wow, it's actually there. Here it is. But he understood it like it wasn't big or something, lol. In college my girlfriend was riding me in my dark bedroom me summer night. She was vigorously gyrating that I could feel her sweat dripping on me. Afterward we kissed and cuddled. When we turned on the light we discovered she had a bloody nose and her blood was all over my neck and chest. I fuked my ex. I haven't noticed it until after some minutes. She said, I don't know what you're doing, but can you put it inside? This was a bit of a misunderstanding. But when my boyfriend and I first got together, I was going to give him a blowjob, so I took the gum out of my mouth and I thought I put it in the trash bin. I did not. After we finished I went to the bathroom and saw gum all over my hair. I guess it was still on my hand when I put my hair up with a hair tie. So I said, man, this takes me back to my childhood. Referring to the gum stuck in my hair. When I walked back into his room, his face had changed from happy bliss to complete concern. After a pause he finally says he was so sorry and that we didn't have to do that again. He hadn't seen the gum in my hair. He thought I was talking about a childhood filled with blowjobs. Once we figured out the mix-up, he was still a bit shaken by my childhood. One girl I was with in high school was on top, and I had to fart real bad. I wasn't sure what to do, so I just tried to hold it in. She started to get more into it and picked up the pace, which caused a series of tiny rhythmic farts every time she came down. It sounded like a machine gun. She stopped and asked if I farted and I blamed the squeaky bed. She knew. I had sex with a deaf chick and I was moaning really loud, but she couldn't hear it. So I gave her a thumbs up for half of it. It became an inside joke. I asked my boyfriend to talk dirty to me. In the middle of sex he starts saying in my ear FCKU. FCKU. I let it happen and afterwards burst out laughing, telling him to never do that again. FCKU. FCK me yourself. You coward. I am. My husband was trying to talk dirty to me and finished a sentence calling me a silly goose. Sex was postponed for a good 15 minutes while I laughed my ass off. Calling me a silly goose. I'm gonna make you honk so hard. An old girlfriend of mine said she wanted to be slapped while we were going at it. After 100% ensuring she really wanted to be slapped, I slapped her. I missed her cheek and smacked her right in the nose. She yelled, "Ow. FCK." But thankfully didn't hold it against me. The classic guys don't know how to slap during sex. They either do it too lightly, or knock the sonic rings out of your ass. Holds true. Thank God there's been no accidental nose hits over here. Though. Lmao. At least she took it like a champ. He said arch your back while we were doing it doggy style and I arched it the wrong way, up, and he had to say no the other way. Edit. Thanks for all the awards. Glad my suffering, and his, probably, can bring you all joy. OMG. Scared cat pose. I'm dying. Getting my wife's bra off. Too many damn straps and crap. I muttered Rubik's boob and we started laughing so hard we killed the moment. Having sex while standing, holding GF face to face, and supporting her off the ground with my arms under her legs. Yeah. You have to have some strength to do this. So she's all into this new position. And my arms are getting tired. So I have the idea to walk forward and put her back against the wall. Except it was the patio sliding glass door. In January. Which was freezing cold. Bare GF back against a cold piece of glass. Nope. The first time he went down on me he had a slight cold and I was super nervous. So he's going at it. Right up in there and my brain decided to ask him, how's your nose? He just looked up at me, shook his head, and kept going. Thankfully. Lmao. Reminds me of the first time I went down on a guy. I had told him it was my first time trying it. And I'm going at it just fine for a couple of minutes. Then randomly pull back. Look up at him. And say I just don't want you to be bored. I've never seen such a bitch. Are you serious? Look, in my entire life. It still makes me laugh to think about. My girlfriend a while ago liked to do the ice cube, cup of tea blowjob trick. One night we didn't have any ice cubes. Only a bag of frozen peas. She went down on me with a mouthful, and it turns out that peas in the mouth defrost really fast. After about 20 seconds she choked and coughed blowjob mushy peas all over me and my new sheets. Improvise. Adapt. Overcome. The first time I tried to kiss a guy, I closed my eyes, went forward with my mouth open, and bit his chin. My boyfriend at the time was trying to take my tight jeans off and struggling mightily to get them over my hips. I lifted my hips up to assist with the process and the jeans came off quickly and he flew backwards and hit his head on the wall. It was absolutely hilarious and I laughed. He did not find it equally funny. And SI times were put off so he could nurse his head injury and his pride. On my honeymoon, my now ex-husband and I decided to get drunk, eat snacks and watch Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. While doing so, we started fooling around and trailed off to the bedroom to finish what we started. While I started going down on him, I noticed he was squirming and saw him wincing when I looked up. I asked him what was the matter, to which he replied, "It burns." And it was only then I realized I had just been snacking on extra flaming hot Cheetos right before. After rushing to get a wet cloth and repeatedly apologizing, I couldn't stop laughing at the fact that I just gave my new husband a flamin' hot blowjob. Getting hot and heavy with my GF in bed. Making out and getting ready to start the main event. We're whispering back and forth to each other when I say, "I wanna be inside you." To which he immediately responded, "What? What did you say?" After a very confusing moment, I realized she thought I said, "I want to pee inside you." It kinda killed the mood. BTW. King autocorrect almost made me post this as getting hot and heavy with my grandfather in bed. Glad I'm a paranoid proofreader. Going when I came. Her roommate had friends over and they still make fun of me to this day for it. I hope they started calling you MR. Poopa butthole after that. She, who's very insecure, queefs very loud and leans forward, looks back at me, lip shaking like she's going to cry. I'm not grossed out or anything, but I do kind of feel bad for her. I seize this opportunity to let out a fart that I'd been holding in, and followed up with "It's okay. I do it too sometimes." It was unsuccessful. She just started bawling. A girl invited me over to her house to watch the Wonder Woman movie. While we're watching it, she starts kissing on me and teasing me. I said, "What about the movie?" She says to me, "Come on to the bedroom, it'll be better than the movie." And while we're going at it, she says, "See, isn't this better than the movie?" And before I could catch myself, I said, "I don't know, I haven't seen the rest of the movie." Not me, but my girlfriend and I were in the middle of SI times and we had been wanting to get more comfortable with dirty talk, and after a little bit of back and forth she said, "How bad do you want this dick? I mean, PSSY." We just laughed it off. My very first time with a gal who was out of my league. We stripped off our clothes and were making out. And both of us totally naked. I said, "So, what next? Do I ask for a blowjob?" She laughed it off and said, "Let me take the lead on this one. I miss her. I miss her too." When I came, my upper body froze up and I drooled on her face. I felt the spit making its way out and I couldn't move my arms or body. This happened twice with the same girl. So I met this girl at a bar one night. She had very vibrantly red hair. So I ended up going home with her. All was well. We exchanged numbers and I left. So we meet up again and her hair is bluer than the sky. So I say, "Oh shti, I like the new hair color." So she proceeds to tell me they are wigs. She had destroyed her hair and shaved it off. So. Now wigs. The fascipomies. One night she's giving me oral. I look over and there's 2 different wigs next to me. I still don't know what possessed me to do it. But I took the one on her head off and. Naturally. One time I slipped off the bed and literally fell out of her. I imagined this happening with a little cartoon cork popping noise. Lost my virginity to a girl with an IUD. So we just kinda raw dogged it. Basically I nutted in like 30 seconds but didn't want to disappoint, so I just kept going for like 15 minutes till she was like, yo, are you good? Not me but my husband. He was being silly. Jumped up on the bed but hit the overhead light with his hand. Raining pieces of glass onto said bed and cutting a gash in his calf. No sex for us that night. Okay. There are 2. 1. My husband was going down on me and when I came I let out a massive fart. Right. In. His. Face. 2. You know those Listerine fresh breath strips? Well. If you put one in your mouth and let it dissolve. Then go down on your partner, it can give a nice sensation for them. I was waiting for my husband in a very dark bedroom and I reached for the breath strips. But instead of putting one in my mouth I ended up putting what must have been 8 or 9. They started melting and it was overwhelming. My husband came in and turned on the lights to find me scooping blue goop out of my mouth. Blue drool on my chin. And my eyes watering. Not exactly the SZest scenario. Not really bad but weird. I was having sex with my GF in the missionary position and out of nowhere she stuck her middle finger up my ass. No warning or anything. What really freaked me out was I came instantly. Didn't have any control over it. One of my friends in undergraduate had a similar situation and now he's really into being pegged. No judging. Just warning. First time. I put it in and just expected things to happen. I mean it felt warm and nice. But not even close to how good it felt when I masturbated. We figured things out the second time round though. PP warmer. So when I'm drunk and tired I start saying extremely weird things with no recollection of it afterwards. Sex is no exception here unfortunately. The worst thing I've said was probably my reply to a how was it? When losing my virginity. So how was it? Like I expected. I farted while getting a BJ. I'm sorry I couldn't hold it in any longer. Haha. Oh I feel this one. First time my husband and I had sex I farted right as I orgasmed. I once asked a girl if she came and she said she didn't know. I told her you probably did. That movie with Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston where he counts to 50 before coming to make sure he lasted. Yeah. IF King did that. It was a quickie. I yelled 50. And she looked at me like I have Tourette's instead of making an obscure movie reference. My ex farted as he came once. He cared so much and never let it down. I didn't care at all. Miss you, Joe. So. We just started to have normal sex. After a while he probably thought it was SI or whatever to ask me in a disguised voice how I want him to FCK me. Yeah well that different sounding voice just confused me in that moment so much that I just blankly stared at him for a couple of seconds without either of us saying anything until I started to choke on my own saliva and we had to take a break so I could drink something. It was awkward. Very. Edit. First of all. Are you serious? My most upvoted comment is about me choking on my own saliva? For the people asking. With normal SX I just meant SX. Sorry for my weird wording lol. And no. He didn't impersonate anyone, not that I know of. It was just that high pitched. I was nervous around my first college crush. After a few weeks of talking I finally got her into my room. We were on my bed making out. Getting touchy-feely. I realized pretty quickly that she wasn't wearing any panties under her short shorts. I looked down and said I can see your vajayjay. Not a copyright airing. She laughed awkwardly. Said she had to go and we never spoke romantically again. You were not yet ready, child. Accidentally tried to put it in the wrong hole my first time. She even had to say wrong hole. Dot. The movies always made it seem like everything would just line up perfectly. Wouldn't have to look and line things up. Like I could just slide on in without breaking eye contact. I now know a bit better. I dated a guy once who would like always miss it I'd do the wrong hole. And he would always say who says and I'm devastated to say I stayed with him for like 3 years. Edit. One of my first times I thought for some reason unlubricated condoms were the way to go. They were not. Not long after getting into it we both got friction burned. She was screaming. I was screaming. I was literally bleeding after. Took about a month to heal up. There was not a second time for us. Sex with a bald girl. I'm hitting from the back and I'm super horny and in the moment I couldn't think of an alternative to hair pulling so I just grabbed her head like a f***ing basketball. She starts dying laughing immediately. Edit. Thanks for all the awards praying she's not a regular Reddit user I. Edit number 2. Not me. But a very good friend of mine had the total hots for a girl. Had been working on getting her interested for the longest time. Took her out. Wined and dined her. Got her finally to come back to his place. Put some nice music on. Candles. Wine. Setting a lovely mood. They were making out. Clearly. Things were about to happen. She took off her top exposing what he now deserves as spectacular and exquisite alabaster breasts. And he exclaimed in giddy surprise. Oh god they're massive. Like an absolute moron to the god of boobies. Which of course. She was not bowled over by. She started crying. Pulled her top back on and left. It's been 20 odd years. He still brings it up whenever he has a remorse boner. That time we headbutted instead of kissing after coitus. Lol. Yeah. We just did IT. Headbutt. I've always been into name calling and my fiance registered sign is a nerd. He hasn't done this kind of thing before. So I was super horny. Close to an orgasm and asked him to call me names. He goes. Do you like this dick? You unemployed lady? I was like WTF. My unemployment status during COVID times is the last thing I want to be reminded of during sex. Lol. Edit. Thank you. Kind Reddit strangers. My unemployedness is grateful for the awards. Colon. Mistaking pillow talk for stand-up routine. Whispering I want to be inside of you instead of os I want you inside of me to a new male partner in AOS's copyright airing. My buddy fell asleep in the middle of it. On top of her. And he was much bigger than she was. Yay your buddy. When my wife and I first met, I moved my head downtown to have fun with her lady bits. But didn't have enough space at the bottom of the bed. The foot of the bed frame was in the way. So I licked and kissed my way from her waist up to her earlobes and then sensually whispered. Scoot up. We died laughing for a good 10 minutes before we got back to it. When it was my first time, I didn't really know what to do. So I thought it would be a good idea to copy what I saw in a dumb teen movie. So once I'm about to put it in I start laughing as if someone was tickling me cause that's what they did in the movies. So embarrassing. 14-year-old me never having jerked off. Getting frisky with my first girlfriend when she asks if I'm close. I say I don't know. Does it feel like peeing? She says I think so. I proceed to pee everywhere while I run to the bathroom. Will the hook up and I were going at it. And she wanted to give me head. And while she was putting her hair back, the TV in the background, which happened to be Star Wars, said something about the Force. My 5 brain cell self thought it was a good idea to make a snarky comment about the Force while flexing my dick going up and down. She busted out laughing and so did I, and SX Drive went out the door because we were too busy laughing at how stupid I am. Well, I didn't mean to do this, but I was having major stomach issues one day and my BF at the time wanted to have sex. As we were just about to do it doggy style, I let out the biggest and loudest fart right in his face. Needless to say we stopped then and there, and I'll never forget that LMAO.